Hi, I'm Shayna.
And I'm Tracy, and we are the creators of The Pump A Dump Show. We are moms, but we were women first. And in this podcast, we explore what it's like to be a woman who also happens to be a mom.
Before we were moms, we were women. Before we were moms, we were chilling. We were pumping and dumping. We're talking about something. This is the Pump A Dump Podcast.
Welcome back, burritos.
What up, breeders?
Would you ever sell your house and get into an RV with all of your children and your motherfucker or partner and just travel the country for a while? Would you do that, Trace?
I think you know the answer to that.
It's a
The
hard
answer
yes.
is a hard yes.
A hard yes.
Certainly, all my children is one child, so not
Right.
that scary of a situation.
Sure.
But yeah, I totally would.
Right.
Although I have to say, you know, in my fantasy, like disconnecting from society, I think I'd rather like move to a farm. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I would. Would you?
When I first moved back to Denver, I remember you were saying that you wanted to like move to like a farm in, was it Lyons or
Yeah,
something?
we were looking hard.
You were?
Yeah.
But not anymore.
No, we couldn't find anything. And then we redid our house and now we're just kind of stuck there.
Well, you're stuck in like your dream house.
Yeah. Stuck is not the right word. Stuck being that we're in the city and God willing,
And it is
someday
what it is.
we'll live on or have land somewhere else. But would you do it?
I would. You know, I think the problem for me has always felt that for my career, I've never had that ability, right? So it's like, sure, I would love to like move to an island for a couple years, but then, you know, there goes the Pump A Dump Show.
Sure.
And before that, there went, you know, they're just not, I don't ever feel like it's been an option.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that part. I was just thinking hypothetically.
Oh, sure.
Like, would you actually do it? I think a lot of people wouldn't. Like, hell no, I would never just get in an RV with my whole family and travel the country for a year.
I would do it, but that's because my mind space right now is very much like manifesting
Your
new
mind space
adventures.
is that you're actually saying words like mind space.
My mindset is changed. My mind space. I mean, it's the spring equinox today. I mean,
we're ready.
I feel like we have to take leaps, you
Yeah.
know? And so maybe it's just being in my 40s. I'm 41, so I'm like deep in my 40s, but deep enough that I want to go in an RV with my family away for a year.
Yeah. No, it's fascinating. I think a lot of people are doing it. I mean, you have a friend who's leaving for Costa Rica for a year.
I have other friends that sold everything and moved to Costa Rica like 3 years ago.
We have a friend that's got 3 kids and she's building a tiny house that they're moving into.
Yeah.
I mean, it's happening. There's obviously a shift in the world. I think we're all realizing that in some ways the American dream isn't as delightful as we had thought.
Right.
And I also think it's just life is really busy, a lot busier than I think it used to be. And the desire to just step away from that.
Well, and according to you on our last trip, when they put 5G everywhere, we're all going to die. So
It's true.
get as far away as you can.
You guys, well, maybe we should have a 5G podcast because I'm real concerned about all of
You can
us
do that
being
one.
radiated to death.
You can do that one on your own.
Yeah, but there is something. I mean, when we redid our house, we did not leave. We redid our whole house. We had been saving up for 12 years to do it, and we couldn't afford to rent a house or move to a hotel, so we just lived in it. And we lived in my daughter's bedroom. My dad. Ooh,
Your dad was not there.
Johnny and I slept in her bed, and Evie slept on a blow-up bed at the foot of the bed. And as crazy as it was, there was an intimacy that will never leave us.
Mm-hmm.
Having to be together in those close and having to everybody just kind of has to suck it up and do without and share one bathroom. And there was something sort of beautiful about it.
Yeah, for sure. Our guest today did kind of what we're talking about. Basically, she didn't sleep in a bedroom with her 4 children, but they did sell their beautiful, hard-earned
5-bedroom home
in Dallas to move into an RV and travel the country. She is one of our favorite parenting bloggers, and we can't wait for you to hear her story.
We got a special guest. Special guest.
Our guest today is Jill Krause, known from Happy.Loud.Life and Baby Rabies. She is a writer. She is a mom of 4. She has been in an RV for the last year with her 4 children, touring the country and sharing it all with us on Happy.Loud.Life. And we are so happy to have her here today. Jill, welcome.
Welcome, Jill.
Yay! Thank you. I'm so excited for some adult conversation, honestly.
I'm sure. So, Jill, give us your your professional bio, because I know you're in transition right now. Tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, a lot of people probably know me first from writing on Baby Rabies. Was the blog I started like 12 years ago this year, and it's where I documented pregnancy and parenting, and like the births of all 4 of my children. Then about a couple years ago, I launched Happy.Loud.Life after we decided to sell our giant dream home in Dallas and just hit the road in a tiny RV with all 6 of us. And so we've been sharing our travels on that platform. And now, after a little over a year on the road, we're settling back into Texas. And I just basically am done having babies and have felt really like kind of torn with these 2 platforms. I just need a place to put all of my thoughts in one spot. And they aren't necessarily about babies or pregnancy all the time, because I feel like that's a chapter that's closing for me. And I'm excited about what's coming next. So I recently have started transitioning to jillkrause.com. So Baby Rabies will still be there. Happy.Loud.Life will still be there. I'm just trying to move everything moving forward to jillkrause.com.
Gotcha.
Well, I always thought it was fascinating, like that. So, when I first heard of you, I was like, baby rabies, what does that mean? And correct me if I'm wrong, but you explained it as, just like being crazy for babies, right? Like you just wanted more babies. Am I wrong?
Yeah. Well, no, basically what it was is when I got married, was involved in like wedding planning message boards. And the joke always was, after you got married, don't come back and get baby rabies. So it was like the girls who became obsessed with getting pregnant to the point where they were like tracking their temperature and checking their cervixes and charting things. And that was kind of always a joke. It was kind of like, just chill. If it happens, it happens. And I realized at one point that this was becoming I was like very type A driven, like kind of person. And here I was like getting pregnant as it's like a project. And I was like, oh my God, I have baby rabies. And so just like jokingly like laughed at myself. Like, I can't believe this is you. And so the .com was available. I can't imagine why. And so I just bought it and started blogging there, never imagining that would become like synonymous with my name 10 years later.
Right. Well, and we met you when you were pregnant with your 4th, who, by the way, we're completely obsessed with.
I mean,
like, even when he was born, Kate, our director of operations, was like, I've never been so in love with a baby.
She had Wallace rabies.
Like we would follow you on Instagram, and that, I mean, all of your children are gorgeous, but there's just like that baby, there's something so unbelievable. He's not even a baby anymore.
And we all follow you, but then she would still insist on sending us your posts with pictures of the baby. We're like, we saw him. He's beautiful. Wallace has a big fan club over here in Denver.
We just wanted you to know that.
Oh, well, thank you. And I know my husband's always like, when can we make money off of this child?
Seriously.
He's so perfect.
So funny.
His looks make up for he stops my heart 20 times a day. Like, he's just one of those kids you have to be super, super aware of all the time, or he's going to get in trouble.
Right. Because you call him Danger Baby, right?
We do. Yep. That's his name. He's Danger Baby.
Okay. So Jill, let's talk about your RV adventures for a little bit, and then we'll get to how, where you are now and where you're going, because I think that's really interesting too. So give us the backstory. You decided to sell your dream home. Tell us how you guys went to make this monumental decision.
And how you all shared one bathroom.
Yeah, we went from 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms to this small RV with 1 bathroom. And honestly, living space-wise, it wasn't terrible, because what happened was we got this dream house. My husband and I we both came from families that had very little, and we put ourselves through college, and we worked very hard to get, where society told us like that once you get this, you have done it all. And so we got it, and we were like, so like, this is it? Like, we have to pay for a housekeeper and a lawn person if we want to maintain this. This is so stressful. And it was just kind of a culmination of a lot of things. Not really super happy with like the area that we lived in, not really happy with like the constant stress of maintaining that size of home, and not really being able to put away money to travel a whole lot, and realizing that it was going to be so expensive, massively expensive to take 4 kids on any kind of vacation anywhere, that we had to fly. And I think we just kind of thought, our kids don't hate us right now, and they likely will in a couple of years. And sure, like the youngest one isn't going to remember it, but I'll take plenty of pictures. And it was just kind of like a reset. Like, we just needed to, it's not like we want to like live in tiny houses forever. And we loved our house and we loved our neighbors, but we just needed a reset. Like, just something in us was feeling like this is not the direction we want to go. And if we don't stop right now, stop everything and just try to figure it out, we're going to get too far gone. The kids are going to be too far involved in sports and friends and school, and it's going to be too crazy to try to stop everything then.
And did you guys, I mean, did you guys come to this decision sort of together? Did someone sort of have the aha moment and then bring the other along? Or were you both just in sync and just feeling unhappy and unsettled?
I mean, I think we both were stressed for the year leading up to it. But a lot of that had to do with me having a surprise 4th baby. So it was kind of hard to sort out those emotions, like what was going to go away once he was like, potty trained, and what was going to stay. And I think it was mostly me thinking a whole lot about it, like toward the end of my pregnancy with him and right after I had him, and just like trying to envision our future, like how it looked. And I was like, this isn't what we want. This is not the people like we wanted to be. So it was me mostly. But then once I like pled my case to my husband, I think he was feeling that stress as much as I was. And once I like laid it out for him, like, no, but we really could do this, then he was all in. I mean, initially he was like the cautious one because that's just kind of how our relationship is. But once I really sold him like the dream, he was like, all right, let's do it. He was all in.
And then, so what was it like telling your friends and family? And then when did the panic set in of having to get rid of everything that you owned?
So telling friends and family was not bad. Like mostly, I think everybody in our life that matters to us has been kind and positive about it from day one, to our faces at least. At minimum, they have not been discouraging. Some of them, of course, had like some serious questions about how we would pay for it, and like, what about where will the kids sleep, and is this safe? But once we answered those questions, they were all kind of on board. Sorry, what was the other part to that question?
And when did the panic set in?
Oh, when did we freak out? Okay. So it was kind of a long process. I thought like we made the decision in like March-ish of 2017. And I had hoped we would have the house on the market and sold over that summer and ready to go by the beginning of the school year. And it didn't work out that way because it was a large house to get ready to put on the market, and we had a newborn. And so it was a lot of work. And I think over that summer, it was kind of like crunch time, and it was stressful because I had also got this amazing opportunity to write my first book. And so I had a book deal I was managing. My husband was still working full time. We're trying to get this nearly 4,000 square foot home ready for the market. And I think that moment when it was like, it just got maximum stressful before everything could settle down. And so the entirety of 2017 basically was like a giant ball of stress. But getting rid of everything was honestly like the least of it. It was really almost like a joy. And I haven't shared a whole lot about this with other people, but when we purged most of the stuff in our house, we donated almost everything that we ended up getting rid of. I mean, I sold a few things, but realized it just was not worth my time.
Right.
With us both having to work, I was like, we can make more money working right now than selling this stuff. So we ended up furnishing an entire one-bedroom house for a victim of domestic violence who fled and had nothing. So she had a full living room, a full dining room, a kitchen full of stuff, a bedroom full of stuff. We sent everything off on a flatbed trailer with people from her church. And she was able to get like a brand new start with life.
Wow.
And that was just the most incredible feeling. And to be able to have my children there to help witness that as we're loading up the stuff. And to just be like, look at this, like this stuff is going to do us no good in storage and it's going to change somebody's life. So that was kind of our approach moving forward. It was like, who can we give this stuff to that is really going to impact? We gave a lot of toys and books to a first-year teacher in a low-income school. We gave a lot of baby stuff to a teen mom and another mom I knew who was struggling. So that was honestly like a really joyous part for us in the experience.
Well, yeah. And what a great way to stack the karma as you pull out in your RV, knowing that,
Right.
you know, that's what a wonderful, it's just a wonderful way to start the trip, you know?
Yeah, it
So,
was good.
okay. So you obviously, you decided to homeschool your children, road school.
Right. Yeah, there was no way around that. Yeah. Yeah, we did. And Scott, my husband, was the one who kind of took the reins on that because I was going to be working full time from the road. But we also relied on like an online program. Initially, he thought he would like pull together his own curriculum and then realized that was like just super
Yeah, that seems
too
very
much work
daunting.
for him. Yeah. I mean, we're not trained educators. Like people go to school to become teachers for a reason, right? Like people are like educated in this and we were not. So we bought a membership to an online program that provides all their core studies every month and it tracks everything. So if there were ever like, if CPS was ever called or whatever, we could say like, here's their progress report, these are their grades, like they're progressing through each subject as they need to. It's still a total pain in the rear to get them to sit down and do these subjects. And it's become like really obvious to us that like homeschooling is a bad dynamic for our family. So it was just kind of a means to an end as far as like we wanted to be able to do the trip. Education had to happen. So it was just something we kind of all just grimaced through.
Tell us like one of the moments that you were on the road with your family that you really felt like you were making, like that you made the right decision, that this was like worth it all. Like, did you have any of those like, here it is, this is exactly why, and this is exactly perfect, like epiphany moments?
Yeah, so many. I mean, we also had moments where we were like, seriously, what? Why did we do this?
I was trying to be positive, Jill.
But like even in our regular house, we would have moments like, why did we have children? You know, like so we tried to remember like that just because we were living this like dream life doesn't mean like our life was going to actually be perfect. You know, it was going to be the same life we were living with 4 kids, just with better views. But there were days totally where we would be like, oh, this is incredible. I mean, first of all, just I think the biggest thing is like we all still argue with each other and we get annoyed with each other and we know how to push each other's buttons. But like we're so much closer, like as an entire family unit and even the kids as siblings and us with the kids individually, we are just so much closer and we know so much about each other. And the best part of all of it is just like the conversations that would just naturally occur. All these conversations about big, scary things that as a parent, you think you have to sit your kid down and be like, okay, guys, let's talk about like internet scary strangers, or let's talk about, you know, like Nazi. Let's talk about, you know, like just like scary, like things that you feel like you have to instill on your kids. These would just like come up as like natural conversations all the time. There were so many great opportunities to just like have these ongoing conversations with the kids. And not that cannot happen when you're living in a regular house, but it was just like we were so caught up in the routines and just being so separate from each other in this giant space that it was difficult when we lived that way. So I'm hoping that it really changes the way that we act as like a family moving forward, even when we do get back into a house.
I mean, I imagine, so much of it is that you just have the time. Like you said, the distractions of just a normal sort of suburban life all wash away when you pile into an RV and hit the road. Do you?
Yes, yeah. And I mean, they were exposed to so many other cultures, which was amazing.
So was there a period of awkwardness? Like, was it euphoric when you set out, or were you scared out of your minds? And then was there a point where the kids just had it, generally speaking, or were they pretty much, have they been cool this whole time?
No, they haven't. They embarrassed me really badly when we were interviewed in Connecticut by like a news station, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't like it."
Oh no!
And the thing is, they do like it. They do, but it's just, it's just like if I made them share a bedroom at their old house, they'd be like, "We don't like it," So kids are just honest, right? They'll tell you exactly how they're feeling. And they're not going to sugarcoat anything. So, yeah, they have not loved being in that tiny space every single day. But at the same time, they'll be like, "So remember when we went to White Sands? When can we go back there? Oh, my gosh, remember when we went to San Diego? When can we go back there?" So they may not have loved everything about the living situation, but I am confident that when they're like 20, 30, they will be like, "That was the most amazing experience of our life." But there were times definitely when they were like, we were all just like, "Get us out of this RV." And so we would try to be like, "Okay, now's a good time to let's go find an Airbnb." Like Christmas, I was like, "We're not going to do Christmas in this RV. Let's just go stay in a little house for a few days and we can all stretch out."
Smart.
And it was glorious.
Yeah, seriously. You probably, especially for kids, you probably appreciate space in a whole new way than you did before.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, Wallace, he started he had just started walking when we moved into the RV. And so it's become like a giant playpen for him. I mean, it's basically entirely baby proof. Everything's locked. That there's really no big hazards for him in there. And now when he goes into houses, he doesn't know how to house. He's like, it's so big. And then he'll just like climb on dining room tables like a cat. Like he doesn't understand that that's not a thing you do. So bizarre. So it's going to be interesting when he gets free reign of a big space like that.
Yeah, I bet.
He just started walking, and then you were like, "But please don't walk." Like now you don't get to walk anywhere.
100%. I was like, "This is the worst timing ever."
Well, no, there's no timing that's right when you're a parent having babies. Like everything's always kind of like a new, unimagined experience.
Did you have,
absolutely, yeah.
Did you guys meet other, I think this is kind of a thing right now. Like people are doing this. People are hitting the road for a period of time, taking a break from sort of quote unquote normal life. Did you meet other people like your family on the road?
Yeah, we did. We met a few on the road, mostly connected with a lot of people online. But yeah, we did meet up with families. And a lot of times it would be like, it's not like we knew that there were going to be families at the RV parks, but we found it interesting that a lot of RV parks we would go to had a lot of families with young kids there. We kind of thought we would be mostly the only family at a lot of parks, and that was rarely ever the case. A lot of times it would be more younger families than retirees. It seems like, at least in the parts of the parks they would assign us to, which is probably purposeful. So our kids made a ton of friends as we would go, and it was very rare that we would stay at a park where there wouldn't be somebody for them to play with.
I'm very curious, if you don't mind shifting gears slightly, about your trip. Like you as a writer and your career, what this was like for you. Like, were you still trying to work? You just said you had a book that was your book came out. Like, what was this experience like for you? What were you expecting? What do you think it helped with? Or were there disappointments, like not kind of having a home base? Just kind of curious what that journey has been like for you for the last year with your job.
Yeah, I'll be brutally honest. It was hard. It was really hard. I became our sole income provider, and my husband left his job that he was with for 15 years, and he was the breadwinner for a long time. And he left not only a really fantastic, stable job with a fantastic paycheck, but also benefits. And the healthcare situation was a massive blow to my mental health this year. just because it was, like you cannot miss that bill. You can't miss that bill by a day. If you don't pay that healthcare bill, you have no healthcare, and then you can't get it back. And so it was hard. And so much in the blogging industry changed over last year. It was like the worst year to do it. My business model had to change. My clients changed. And then, beforehand, when I would be working, a lot of small business owners understand this. Clients do not pay on time regularly with really any kind of, you really can't rely on that. And so when I would have a late client payment, it was not a huge deal because my husband's paychecks would, get us through or whatever. And this time, like, late client payments were a total blow. So all of that compounding, it was very hard for me mental health wise last year. And it was hard for me to separate that from, like, I'm loving doing this adventure with my family, and we're so fortunate and blessed that we're able to do this from the road. And also being like, wow, this was a horrible decision, like, business wise, because I didn't have, you guys noticed this today when we were trying to get the podcast going with me being able to call in. I don't have reliable internet connections everywhere for this job that I do. And it's a lot of time in the car, and I can't, like, edit videos while we're driving down the road. It's hard for me to do a whole lot of writing on the laptop while we're driving down the road. So, it was a huge challenge. I'm very proud of myself for coming out of it. I'm very proud of our whole family for dealing with this. But yeah, that was, like, to be real, that was a really hard thing for us throughout the year.
Well, and I think a lot of people have this, everybody, especially new moms, read a lot of mommy blogs, and but nobody really truly understands what it takes to be a very successful one, which is, I think interesting for our listeners to hear you get to talk today, because, people don't think about what goes into it and the stress that it, they might think like, oh, you can just write whenever you want and just, like, tell your stories of being a mom, and then money just flows in the door from sponsors, et cetera. I think that, it's interesting to have you today on this podcast, because I think people are really curious about what that actually entails. And you said the blog world changed a lot in the last year or so. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, Facebook used to be my bread and butter. And that was, like, my main, and I still do. I'm a very engaged following on Facebook. But after the Cambridge Analytica information came out about Facebook and the election, there was a huge shift with what they were showing in people's news feeds. So, my 76,000 plus followers would not see what I was putting out. And that it was very damaging. I also tried to shift to focusing more on YouTube content based on some advice that was given to me that I don't think I should have followed. And it was just, it was a lot of navigating the waters, and I would have had the freedom to make those mistakes and keep throwing those noodles at the wall and seeing which one sticks if I also had, like, my husband's job to support us. It was just, when you are the sole breadwinner, you cannot make mistakes. You cannot afford for a client to pay you 90 days late,
Yeah.
With the changes last year, it was just the online landscape is literally changing all the time. I just did not have the luxury of trying to figure that out over the year.
And when just operationally, when you're on the road like that, did you find it's more expensive or less expensive to live altogether out of an RV? I think, okay, you're probably eating out a lot more. You can't stockpile food. But then there's other things, like you're not paying a huge gas bill, but maybe you are in gasoline. I imagine the budgeting along with being the sole breadwinner who is essentially freelance, for lack of a better word. You're not getting a steady paycheck every 2
Right.
weeks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you manage that?
I think it just depends. So people ask us, like, on, like, RV lifestyle message boards all the time, like, is this going to be cheaper? And it just really depends on what your lifestyle was before you do it. So, our mortgage payment was definitely a lot more than what our RV and truck payment are. So we saved a little bit of money that way. And then, but it would just depend because when we were traveling, we were like, well, while we're here, we want to go do all these amazing things.
Right.
We didn't just come to Canada to sit in an RV park. So, it would just depend. And a lot of it, like we went to Vermont when we were like, on pennies. Like I was like waiting for this client payment to come in that was not coming in. And, we had a retirement savings. We had money, but we were like, we are not touching that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically like, that is like literally last resort. Like that is like, we go home. So we were just like, we get to Vermont, we have like nothing. It's our anniversary. And we are like, what can we do in Vermont for like $50?
Oh my
and we
gosh.
made it happen, So it just so depends on your situation. And, I don't know. I think some months we saved money and some months we really enjoyed ourselves and it just kind of depends on, and we also, I have to be honest, like a lot of our opportunities came through like, sponsored opportunities or places that would be like, hey, come here and you can blog about it. And so we got to do a lot of cool stuff that way for sure.
Oh, that's nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went on a 10-day road trip last Thanksgiving, and we were like, we'll do that instead of like go someplace tropical or, spend the money. And we ended up spending exactly the same amount of money just because of.
Yeah, you can totally spend money doing road trips for sure.
Yeah.
Even though we stayed in like the shittiest hotels and
it's just, coffees and it just all adds up because you're just buying everything.
It's the Pringles, you guys. So many Pringles. Oh, man.
Was there one thing, what was one thing that you just got so sick of that you just couldn't wait to get back to, that you missed so much?
I think at this point we're done sharing one bathroom. Like we're like, and also I only have a shower. I don't have a bathtub. Like the bathroom situation is enraging at this point. Also, it's like 3 boys, well, 3, penises, I guess, that are currently like my husband, and then 2 grown boys who are peeing in the toilet, and soon there will be another one. And it's just like pee everywhere, all over that bathroom all the time. And to my husband's credit, he's actually the one who's constantly cleaning the bathroom and constantly getting on the 2 boys for not being able to aim correctly. But yeah, I'm just ready for I just want my own toilet. I have master bathrooms. They'll have 2 sinks. I'm like, I don't care. I'll share a sink. I want 2 toilets. I want my own toilet.
Tracy and I were just talking about this in a hotel room together. We were saying that I read some article with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas who say that the key to their marriage is separate bathrooms.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah, us too. And so where are you now, and where are you going to be, and what's next? How long have you been on the road?
Yeah, we launched in January of 2018, and in the end of February of this year, we came back to Texas. So it's been about a 14-month-ish road, and we're still living in the RV right now because that's just our only living option until we figure out. My husband's applying for jobs in San Antonio and Austin, so we'll see wherever he ends up getting a job, and then we can move forward with getting into a rental and then trying to find a house and all that jazz. So we had thought we might do this a little bit longer, actually cutting it a little short than we thought. I thought we would do it into the summer. But our 2-year-old, Wallace, the danger baby, has started having some febrile seizures. And so he needs to get into neurologist. And then it just kind of makes me nervous traveling a whole lot with a baby who every time he gets a fever is going to have a seizure. So, it's just, we just need we just need to slow down and focus on, I don't know, just staying put for a little bit. And our older kids are craving, they want to get into sports. They want to start making friends again. And so it's just really listening to them. Like Scott and I, we love to travel. We could, do it forever, but we're not the only people in this family. And so it's really listening to the kids and trying to get us into some kind of, I don't know, a neighborhood or something before the next school year, because they're definitely going to go off and go somewhere else for school.
You said a little bit about why you decided to move away from Happy.Loud.Life and Baby Rabies, but what's your thought moving forward professionally?
I think nothing really changes. I still write about the same things. I'm not going to stop writing about parenting. It's just going to stop being on Baby Rabies, because even professionally, I think hopefully it will help me. There are a lot of brands that won't work with me because of the name of that blog.
Oh, we understand that. We know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping that if I just get rid of it, maybe that will open up some professional opportunities for me. But then that way on that platform, I can talk about travel. I mean, I don't think our travel link is done. I think our RV travel is coming to a close for now. But then I think we hopefully will get a smaller RV that makes sense for us to have for just like weekend or week-long trips. That's at least our plan for now. And so travel and stuff will still be, I'm still going to be writing about all the same things. I don't know that anything really changes moving forward. It's just the name of the .com that I'm going to put everything at.
But you were posting this past week about not being called a mommy blogger anymore. And so we were just curious. You are going to be writing about parenting, but what is the stigma, do you think, like with being called a mommy blogger? Like what is it that you want changed about that identity?
You know, this actually it sparked because I was working with a company on a marketing initiative, and their way of touting me and this thing that they're trying to sell is calling me a mommy blogger. And like, that was like supposed to be exciting. And then everything they were targeting to this audience they were trying to attract was mommy advice, mommy this, mommy that. And I was like, this is so condescending and patronizing. Like, do you market things to men as daddy stuff? This daddy blogger, I guarantee you don't. And so it was just me trying to explain it to these people and them not really understanding what I'm saying. You can call me like a parenting blogger. You could even call me a mom blogger, but my own children do not call me mommy. Like,
Oh, so you just
it's
don't.
just so weird to me.
Oh, you just don't like the word mommy. Gotcha.
Oh, interesting. Okay, sure. I mean, I suppose we would be like, if someone was like, oh yeah, it's mommy comedy, I would be like, fuck you.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, well, first of all, there's so many double standards for women, but also for moms. I just read an article yesterday about the women candidates for president who are mothers versus men who are fathers, and how, like, you know, there can be a picture of Beto O'Rourke on a dirt road looking all cool against like an old car, but like that's never going to be what a woman who's a mother will be portrayed as.
Right.
Like cool
or like
is
Bernie
never
Sanders
something.
shows up with like a big bandage on his head from falling in the shower. Like, a woman could never present herself in public.
Right. They'd be like, she's a drunk. She's got an apron and martinis in her hand.
She just
at
had
night.
plastic surgery, obviously.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's fascinating. And it was funny. It was just interesting I actually thought it was interesting to think of the word cool and that we're not allowed to be cool. Like
Yeah, I guess not.
As moms and as creative moms, even, you know, we that's really not the identity that we can put out there. Like,
well, it's
compared to
hard.
men.
I mean, because
you can, but you'll be called a bad mom.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we're in the same boat as you. I mean, we're comedians, but our entire platform is based around parenting and being mothers. It's the entire subject of the show. But when we go to theaters and to clubs, the initial reaction is
gross.
Yeah, like oh, how fun for these two that they get to get out of the house and do this little hobby of theirs while they're filling a giant theater full of thousands of people. And
man.
And B, how as a man, and I mean, we hear this, like, they don't care about us. So, you know, like, I'll hear the servers getting ready or the bartenders, you know, as we're setting up our tech, and they'll just be like, well, this is going to suck tonight. How could this possibly be funny or fun? Because God forbid two women talk about what they know best in a way that's creative and interesting.
It's very uncool to be a mom somehow.
Yeah, so you're right. I guess it's not like anyone we walk in and everyone's like, oh my gosh, the coolest comedic duo is finally here. It's like, oh wow, what do you do again? And you know, again, it's the how fun for you that I think kills me the most. Like that that our husbands are letting us go for this little weekend trip, and it's like a little treat for us or something.
Fascinating.
Oh my gosh. Meanwhile, you guys are seriously the funniest show ever. And my husband and I used to go to comedy shows all the time. That was like our thing. And I have never laughed so hard.
Oh,
at your
thank you.
shows.
That's so kind.
They're
We appreciate
so
that.
incredible.
But do you think we're cool?
Yeah, that's the real question.
Yes. And also terrible mothers. Yes.
All right. Can I ask you, this is the Pump It Up show. I have to ask you a couple questions. I'm going to start easy. One, did you and your husband ever go on date nights when you were on the road?
And how did
And how did you have sex? We have to know.
Okay, wait. So did we ever go on date nights? Like a few times, and we literally paid hundreds of dollars for them so that we could have sitters.
Did you have someone like come into your RV and watch the kids?
Or did you just lock them in there?
No, we only did this 3 times. We did it when we were at a hotel in New Orleans for a conference. We did it at a hotel in LA for a conference. And I had an award ceremony that night. So we basically just went to an award ceremony. And then we did it. This was the best money spent. We did it at Disney World before we even took the kids to the park. We were at a hotel for a few days and we were like, bye guys. And we left them with a babysitter that we hired from some Orlando company. And we went to Epcot for like 7 hours and drank.
Oh, fun.
You know what's weird? I just got the chills when you said that. Like I literally, the hair on my arm stood up because that was so exciting.
Well, Epcot's so fun. You can totally, because you can go to all
so
those,
exciting.
you can go to all those like international restaurants and feel like you're like touring the world.
France.
Yeah.
Oh my God, how fun.
Yeah, we went to like the German beer garden and just drank giant beers. And yeah, it was incredible.
So then how did you have sex?
Yeah.
Tell
How
us.
did that happen?
Or did you just not have sex for a year?
You had sex those 3 times.
Or was it only
Oh, no,
always
no,
in a
no.
forest?
Our RV has a door on our bedroom that locks, and we also have a washer and dryer in our room, and we do laundry at night. So it's really not difficult. We do have a kid who co-sleeps with us, so we have floor space. So we would utilize that for not us, but him.
I was going
We
to say,
don't
you
have
did it on the
space.
floor?
Like your head next to the laundry machine? Okay.
Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, so you made it work. It's funny. I mean, I haven't been in a lot of RVs in my life, so I've never like. I'm trying to imagine. I mean, I saw photos. It looked pretty cushy.
Yeah.
Like you know, guys made it nice and cozy. But I didn't realize there was.
Yeah,
a door.
I mean, we have a king size bed in our room. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
And then like the kids' sleeping space, like the kids are in another room behind another door. Our son is up in a loft away from us. So the layout of our RV actually, there's like a bathroom between us and then the rest of the RV.
Okay.
Oh, that's nice.
That's reasonable.
Well, we're glad to know that worked out for you.
Yeah,
Thanks
thanks for sharing that with all of us. Honestly, when Tracy said she was going to ask that, I thought she was going to ask you when the last time you shaved your bush was.
Oh.
Which is a question we often ask people, but
No.
I'm glad we didn't ask. I mean, they had a shower. Okay, but we did get personal there. What else can can we ask you that's personal?
Did anyone get super sick? Like, did you have to weather like a whole family plague?
Yeah, I feel like we've actually been passing around some kind of virus since November. The kiddos definitely got the flu, and that was stressful. And then our 2-year-old had his first febrile seizure from the flu the day after Christmas. And that's been another like motivating factor that we have to get out of the RV, because I feel like we just finished up passing strep throat back and forth to each other. We had some other kind of virus when we were at Disney World. It's just been one thing after the next. So I'm like, I think the whole RV needs to be sanitized. We need to just get out and everyone stop touching each other for a little while.
Sure.
Yeah, there's really nowhere for
yeah.
the germs to disperse in that sort of environment. It's just right on top of you.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's so incredible what you guys did. And, you know, we've been obviously following you for years, but following along from when you made this decision to when you bought the RV to starting your journey. And it's incredible. And I think that like, it's a really great, it's really inspiring for people to hear about how you became the breadwinner and, you know, kept being you on this adventure. And I think that that's really awesome, Jill.
Well, and
Thank you.
speaking of breadwinner, tell us about kind of the icing on the cake that turned it all around for you. You did this ebook kind of on your own. Just
it was totally like out of desperation. Like I was like, we were so behind on client payments and things weren't coming through. And it was this, I had done these Facebook Lives and blog posts before where I had taught people a little bit about how to edit photos that they take with their phone with these free apps. And I edit photos all the time. Like when we're driving, from one place to the next. Like I said, it's really hard for me to be on my laptop typing. It really messes with me and I get vertigo. But I can easily edit photos on my phone. So I would just like put a bunch of photos on my phone that I had taken on my camera, and I would just edit them and then upload them to albums or whatever while we were driving. And so I got pretty good at using these apps and figuring out all these tools that they had. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to do this ebook. And it was really at the assistance of my assistant who she's really like pushed me to do it. And so we got pre-sales up. And within like 3 months, I sold like 1,300 copies of the thing. It was like gross like $20,000. And it really completely saved our trip. And the best part is that people really love it. And they're actually really using the tools and the tips I share to make really beautiful pictures. And I'm not trying to teach people how to be like professional photographers. I'm not trying to teach them how to be like Instagram rock stars. I'm just teaching like typical everyday, mostly parents, but anyone, how to just like utilize the camera on your phone in the best way and use these apps to just make photos that you like to become photos that you love and that you want to print and that you want to share with your friends and family and that you're so proud to share on Instagram or wherever. So it's been great. So now I have a follow-up to that book that I'm working on, and I have a Disney specific one that I'm working on that should be out soon.
So tell us how we get these books. Walk us through it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm such a bad salesperson.
I mean, come on.
You go to jillkrause.shop, and currently you can purchase Picture Play there. Picture Play is the name of the first ebook. And sign up for my newsletter there, and I'll let you guys know when the next ones come out. The Disney ebook pre-sale should start by the end of March.
And what is the Disney one? Just like how to take great pictures at Disneyland World?
How to make well, so we basically stayed at Disney World for like 6 weeks. We bought season passes and we went as much as possible. And I just got a ton of content there and took a ton of pictures and compiling my best tips for cool places around the park to get pictures, but also how to edit those pictures, what to keep in mind in terms of lighting, because some of the lighting in Disney is a little weird when you meet characters or when you're in the restaurant. And then some tips and tricks for kind of making those photos pop and editing the photos that like the PhotoPass people will give you. They're professional photographers. They're at the park will take pictures of you for sure. And you can get them if you buy the PhotoPass thing, but they're not always anything that really wows me. So just some fun editing tips. So I'm putting all of that together and it should be available sometime in April.
I love that.
And you have another book, the 50 Things to Do Before You Deliver book.
Which we love.
That was the book that
First
I was
time
writing
moms.
when we were selling the house, moving into the RV.
Oh my gosh.
And it's 50 Things to Do Before You Deliver. It's it's a guide for first time moms. So it's all about just like, I tried to come at it at a really realistic and fun approach. There's stuff in there like how to prepare a box that you're going to put all your child's memorabilia in and how to manage stuff with that system. And then there's also like some recipes for one-handed food that you can go ahead and prep and stock your freezer so that you're ready so you can feed yourself after you have your baby.
What?
And then there's also stuff like talking to your healthcare provider about putting together a mental health care plan and what are the signs and symptoms you need to look out for postpartum or perinatal depression and anxiety. So I'm really proud of it. I think it covers all the bases without being alarmist and being fun, but also throws in some really important information there.
Awesome. And we're going to link to all the books and all of the Jill Krause things. So everybody listening can.
The Jill Krause Empire.
The Jill Krause Empire can find out where
But it's not a mommy empire for the love of God.
She's a woman. With 4 beautiful, beautiful children.
Yes. Well, Jill, thank you so much for coming on and sharing some of your story with us. I feel like we could talk to you for days and just hear all about your adventures. But we wish you the best of luck on your journey and your creative pursuits. We know you have so much more to give the world. And thank you for spending some time with us.
We are on tour.
We got a tour update. Tour update. The tour update is that we're going to Boise on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. So if you're hearing this, we're probably in Boise.
Yeah, we may possibly be in Boise at this very moment in Idaho. I've never been.
Yeah, I don't
Have you
think I
been to
have.
Idaho?
I don't know. I don't think I have.
I just heard on TV the other day that it is that Boise is one of the best places to live in the U.S.
Oh, that's delightful.
Isn't that
I love
nice?
to hear
so
that.
I'm really looking forward to it.
But you guys, there's a bunch of dates coming up that you guys might not know about. First of all, Puke Gate 2019 Salem that we had to cancel because I was barfing my brains out is rescheduled for Thursday, April 25th.
Mhm.
So that show is still going on. So if you're in Salem, Oregon, or around there, come join us for that. We're going to Modesto the next day, Modesto, California on the 26th. We've got 2 dates in Texas. We're going back to Dallas, one of our favorite towns.
We ran into the most delightful,
Oh my gosh.
the most delightful mom at the airport in Michigan.
Yes.
It was so strange.
In
It
Detroit.
was like 5 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
And she walked up to us and was like, I have seen your show and
Saw it in Dallas.
saw it in Dallas. And we're like, that's so random. But then she didn't know we were coming back to Dallas. So who the fuck knows? I don't know how else we can tell you, but to tell you over and over on this podcast, we're coming back to Texas. We'll be in Dallas and San Antonio.
And San Antonio. So that's going to be super fun. We added a new date, Oroville, California. We're going, we talked about that. We're playing at a casino. So Shayna may or may not show up for the stage. Our Mother's Day Eve show is selling quick in Denver at the Paramount. That's our favorite, biggest show of the year. Dance party after, night before Mother's Day.
Mhm.
And then we recently added Omaha and Des Moines.
2 shows each night, early and late show. And then we'll be in DC actually after Boise. So
right, we are going to be
we're
in
going to
DC
be at
after
the
Boise.
beautiful City Winery. And you know what they told us? They're going to have custom pump and dump labeled wine bottles
that you can buy and drink or buy as a gift.
Yeah, you can either drink them at the show or buy them on your way out for your besties or for your breeder friends.
So we're going to make some cute wine for y'all to drink and buy. And then we're finishing up the tour in June, which it's crazy to me. It's not that far away.
Oh God.
It's like the middle of May. Is it? No, it's not even May. It's March. But we're finishing up with the trifecta. We're going to St. Paul, Madison, and Milwaukee.
So you guys follow along, go to thepumpanddumpshow.com and look at our tour page. Tag your friends in these different cities. It's been a epic whirlwind of a tour, and you guys coming to the show is what makes us able to do it. So
yep, we'll see you at a show.
Before we were